how are you? Hey, today we're going to talk about Balto. Balto is I should say, a beautiful Siberian Husky in Nome, Alaska. And I will bring you through why Balto and his life is so noteworthy. I want to thank you very much for being here. My daughter gave me this shirt for Father's Day. So if you think this is advertising, it is. So anyway, all right, so Balto. Okay. Beautiful dog, strong dog. Balto was born in 1919 in Nome, Alaska. The breed, a Siberian Husky. Appearance, Balto had a black and white coat, typical of Siberian Huskies, and was known for his strength and endurance. In 1925, there was a need for a serum run to Nome. There was a tremendous outbreak of diphtheria. Now, I, of course, being an older guy, yes, we were treated with vaccine for diphtheria, and you don't really hear much about it. But back then, there was a big problem, and this particular town needed this serum vaccine to basically save a lot of the people. So in January of 1925, as I said, a diphtheria outbreak threatened the population of Nome, Alaska. The town's supply of antitoxin had expired, and the nearest available antitoxin was in Anchorage, over 1,000 miles away. Now, we were in severe winter, and it made traditional transport impossible. So, and you know, this is the Animal Channel, and you know, if you watch me or follow me, that animals are the best in the world. They're heroes to me all the time. And you will see with Balto what I mean by this. So a solution had to be devised to get this life-saving vaccine serum to this particular town. The solution, a relay of dog sled teams was organized to transport the serum from Nenana to Nome, a journey of over 600 miles. And even today, if we were to say, where you going? Well, I'm going from point A to point B. What's the distance? Somebody say 600 miles. And it'd be like, whoa, are you going to do that in one day? You know, and you're going, maybe over the speed limit, but you're going anywhere from 50 to 70 plus miles an hour to go 600 miles. And you can imagine a dog, a sled team, needing to, in a ferocious winter, go this distance to save the town. So there were more than 20 mushers and 150 sled dogs participated in this, what they call a relay, which took place over 5.5 days. So you're in a brutal winter, cold. Now, I'm in Florida. I wish we'd have a little bit cool weather, but not anything near where we had back then, you know, in Alaska. So, as I said, this took 5.5 days. So they had to live, eat, mush, and travel all this distance. Really kind of scary. Balto's role was in the final leg, and Balto was part of a final team led by musher Gunnar Kyson. The team covered the last 55 miles of the journey, which included some of the most treacherous terrain and harshest weather conditions. You know, again, I just will always keep saying, we're so blessed to have animals. I mean, you know, I get it, but, you know, we just don't know what else to say sometimes. That's unusual for me. So, leadership, despite near whiteout conditions, which, you know, whiteout means it's snowing so hard you can barely see, and temperatures dropping to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, Balto led the team through the night. Now, if I gave you a choice, you need to go 55 miles in treacherous, terrible conditions, would you rather go in the day or would you rather go at night? Well, let's face it, it's colder at night and you can't see as well. And back then they didn't have lights that you hold up and say, hey, let's go, I can see where, or GPS. We get spoiled by GPS. Now, as a little aside on GPS, some of this stuff I don't plan, it just comes naturally in the plan. I always get a kick out of, God bless, people that are following a GPS and they come to a lake and the GPS is saying, you got to go in the lake, or that's the direction you're going to go. And you might think, no one's going to drive into a lake because a mechanical electronic device is going to tell you to drive into a lake. It happens. It's pretty scary, but it happens. And we've even lost people because of that. Anyway, onto the content. Balto led the team through the night, navigating the challenging route and delivering the serum to Nome on February 2nd, 1925. His leadership and determination were crucial in ensuring the serum arrived in time to prevent a major epidemic. Now, before COVID, none of us really, even though I'm 74, I'd never really gone through any pandemic. We had some things we had to have shots and things like that, but nothing, of course, like what we had for 2.5, almost 3 years. So in the fame and recognition, immediate fame, Balto and Kyson, the musher, became instant heroes. Their story was widely publicized, and Balto was celebrated as a symbol of courage and perseverance. You know, in this world, we always look for the hero. And I will be the first one to admit that we don't have a lot of heroes. I do feel in our military, but in things that are happening and people that are doing what they're doing, I don't generally get into feeling we're in the hero era. But back then they were. Anyway, in December 1925, a statue of Balto was erected in Central Park, New York City. I didn't know that. A lot of things we learn here. The statue, sculptured by Frederick Roth, includes an inscription honoring the sled dogs who saved the children of Nome. The inscription reads, dedicated to the spirit of the sled dogs that relayed the antitoxin 600 miles over rough ice across treacherous waters. Now, and you know, they were going through Arctic blizzards. And again, how do they find the direction? I mean, yeah, back then they had compasses, and I meant that's good. But they had to go from Nenana to the relief of stricken Nome in winter of 1925. Endurance and fidelity and intelligence was the buzzword of that time, of them going 600 miles, and having it where no one gave up. No one said, I'm not going to do this, or no, I can't do this. I don't think, and it's a good point of where you don't give up. And by the way, that's how I feel about the YouTube channel. Don't give up, keep trying, you'll get there. Okay, now, Balto in later life went on tours and retirement. Now, Balto and his team were brought to the lower 48 states where they toured the country raising awareness and funds. Eventually, the team retired to the Cleveland Zoo, where they lived out the remainder of their days. Balto, and you know, all good things come to an end. Balto passed away on March 14th, 1933, at the age of 14. God bless Balto. His body was preserved. I know that's kind of interesting, but I feel if you want to be able to remember either a person or animals, that any way that you can have it where people are reminded of what they did and the chances they took. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Anyway, back to his body was preserved and is on display at the museum in Cleveland of Natural History. His legacy. Okay, Balto's story has been retold in books, documentaries, and animated film. Balto, released in 1995. His legacy continues to inspire and educate people about the heroic efforts of sled dogs and their mushers. I mean, we all, and I say this quite often, if I could go back in time and get the feeling of the accomplishments, the efforts, how hard something is, it's certainly coming back to the current time, you'd say, A, God bless them, B, we have it made, and we're blessed to have this life. So every year, as you probably have heard, the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, an annual long-distance sled dog race in Alaska, commemorates the Serum Run and honors the memory of Balto and the other sled dogs who participated. Now, I know we're personifying Balto, and Balto was the leader. But you got to have a lot of brave people, even if you get a good leader. So you can see that probably we'd like to honor, and I'm saying that right now, all the dogs that went the 600 miles, because again, remember, it was like a relay. So they knew that one dog team and a musher in these conditions could not go 600 miles. And again, as I said earlier, it was over 5.5 days. So, but, you know, it's like the old saying, so close, but then so far. You know, you could get within 55 miles and it could have ended. And the serum would have been destroyed and no one would have been saved. So you just have to realize the benefit of such a significance. Okay, we love the symbol of heroism, and Balto represents the bravery, determination, and teamwork that define the 1925 Serum Run. His story highlights the vital role sled dogs played in the history and culture of Alaska. I mean, they didn't have vehicles, really, this is pretty much the only way you could get around in Alaska, especially in these winters. And even back then, the winters were probably worse. And it just is such amazing courage, and under extreme conditions serves as a enduring example of the extraordinary capabilities of animals and their essential contributions to human survival and well-being. Again, the testament to unbreakable bond between humans and their canine companions, and his story remains a source of inspiration for generations. So, I hope you enjoyed this travel log through this unbelievable accomplishment, efforts, and just being there to do what was the best they could do for us humans. Again, we're blessed every day. And speaking of blessed, I want to thank you very much for being here. I'm blessed that I can do these. And I'm not young, so you have to make sure if you're still able to read the script and personify the best of the best. And no one comes close. Anyway, this is All Power Group, Jim Whitehead. We have Jamie Whitehead. We have Miss Perfection and Big Orange. You haven't seen them in a couple days. They decided they needed a little vacation because they're working as hard or harder than I am. So I said, here, go ahead, go off, enjoy your time. They'll be back hopefully tomorrow. And again, thank you very, very much for doing this with me. Take care.